Hi, this is Allison Lee Rosenfeld, and you may know me as the voice of Bonnie from Pokemon, and you are watching Anime Egotists. Will you please take care of my big brother? Happy watching!
And welcome back to the Anime Egotists, where we were stuck in the Momodo world. We weren't allowed to go down for the Momodo fight.
No, you know how Zatch was considered weak? We were below him.
Yeah, somehow, and he didn't even know any spells at the time. They're just like, no, just looking at you, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
Exactly.
Yeah, my name's Alex, and no matter how high somebody's power level is, I don't think I would crush my scouter over it.
I don't know. I think I would. I'm Richard.
That's correct. And Richard, I'd like to think that at sometimes we're actually friends, but in anime, there are a lot of friendships out there. A lot of really good, wholesome, loving friendships out there.
Yep, but that's not this video's topic.
No. As much as I hate Richard, even I like to think we have a better friendship than the friendships on this list. These are the friendships that we don't really know who started it or why they're still hanging out, but these are just friendships that just upset us in one way or another.
Exactly. So this is going to be an interesting one, I think. There, because these friendships have their issues, and we'll explain as we go along. I think each one, just to kind of how we normally do.
Yeah, y'all should know at this point. But anyways, do you mind if I start this off?
Go right ahead.
All right. So I really wanted to. I want to get your thoughts on this one because it's a bit of a controversial one. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura from Naruto. Duh.
Yeah, I can 100% agree.
Okay, let's think about this. Squad 7, Team 7, whatever. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. They really don't start off on the best note. Naruto's trying to flirt with Sakura, Sakura's trying to flirt with Sasuke, and Sasuke's trying to flirt with, nobody. They don't really get along, and look, as much crap as I give Sakura, and it's deserved, Naruto is kind of unbearable at times in the early part of the series, especially considering he transforms into Sasuke and tries to get a kiss out of Sakura. Meanwhile, Sasuke looks at both of them like they're just completely worthless. And even down the line, as they get older and as they start becoming more mature, it still never really feels like they're friends exactly. Like, maybe if they had had more moments in between where it showed them hanging out, like, look, for all the flack you could give the Kakashi's True Face episode, it at least showed them hanging out and interacting and like working together. But I don't know, there weren't enough moments for me, in my opinion, to basically really think to myself, these three are actually friends who care about each other.
Yeah, the amount of time that you see, I think I think it's the start of the battle part of the Chunin exams where Sasuke turns Naruto and says, "You're one of the ones I want to fight the most." It's like, yeah, I know Naruto's finally started growing, but where's this change from? I mean, to us, it's been probably 2 months of time since he pretty much called Naruto a weakling last, if that.
Well, to be fair, the whole Nine Tails thing with Haku and the getting in front of a giant snake thing, it kind of tends to convince a guy.
But still, it feels like there's just not enough. You're right. There's not enough there, and it doesn't make things any better that in Shippuden that Sasuke attempts to kill them multiple times. So there's that to add into the effect.
Yeah, and the fact that even in Shippuden, when Sakura is still fawning over Sasuke, I'm just like, Naruto's right there. I'm not saying fall in love with it, but I don't know. It felt like there were still scenes where they all kind of made each other worse people. It just I'm still shocked and even nowadays when they all seem like good guys, it doesn't even seem like they interact that much. So it doesn't feel like a friendship either way.
Yeah, with I guess Sasuke being the Shadow Hokage or whatever they
Something
call
like
it
that.
now. Yeah, it's like, okay, he's out of the village. You did all this to save him so that he could come back to the village, and now he still wanders the world outside, and y'all don't interact.
Yeah, say what you want about Kiba and Shino, but they at least had moments where they felt like they were friends and they would always hang out with Hinata and that sort of thing. But
Mhm.
this wasn't it.
Exactly. I'll completely agree with this. So, yeah, yeah, they're just this is very toxic because it feels like Naruto and Sakura need Sasuke, and Sasuke kind of just is there as well.
Exactly.
All right. So my first one.
Go for it.
So I don't know if you remember this because I don't remember how far you got to Assassination Classroom,
Okay.
and that's Kaede and Nagisa from Assassination Classroom. They're kind of portrayed through most of the series as really good friends until it's revealed that Kaede is actually the sister of their teacher's love interest from this um, from what when he was transformed into the tentacle monster, and she was one of the scientists, but she was the only nice one and was trying to make things as easy on him as possible. And
Yeah, yes, I remember this woman. You've mentioned her.
yeah, well, Kaede is the sister, and she's it's kind of revealed towards the end of the series, and she's betrays the entire class just to try to get revenge because she blames the teacher on there. And you feel for Nagisa because she to him they were really good friends, and it's just that hard moment of that betrayal that and the fact that it feels like she's lied for the entire series, which takes place over like a year because it's kind of the start of the year at the start and then it's graduation time at the end. So it's just it feels so bad that it's like was she pretending this entire time? And you don't necessarily feel fully wrapped up that she's actually grown and accepted her place in the class by the end of it. It's just kind of at a weird point in the series.
I can't recall what happens to this person at the end.
They Koro Sensei removes the tentacles that she implanted in herself to be able to attack him at light speed or whatever, or the supersonic speed, whatever speed they can go at, and uh, in order to save her life because they're going to explode, Koro Sensei removes them and saves her life, and she still remains part of the class. It's just because of its placement in the story, it's kind of the last thing they do before they try to save Koro Sensei, and from what I remember, and it's just it feels like it's kind of thrown out of nowhere because, as I said, she's kind of the sweet girl throughout the series who hangs out with Nagisa and they're good friends. So it just doesn't feel right where it is and leaves a kind of a bitter taste in your mouth, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that, especially since, like you said, it almost doesn't feel like we know. Okay, were you at least conflicted? Were you pretending? Since we don't have a good, clear motivation, sometimes that kind of hurts it.
Exactly.
All right, so while I'm holding off my cat from jumping on the table, should I just do my next one?
Go right ahead.
All right, Raditz, Nappa, and Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z.
Yep, I can understand that.
Okay, so a lot of people tell me they really like Raditz, and in all full disclosure, I don't really understand why. I'm not judging. I just can't really. I don't know what more he could have done to be like, oh, I can see it. But the thing is, whenever they talk about stuff like, oh, well, once we get the Dragon Ball, Nappa says, once we get the Dragon Balls, we can bring Raditz back, and Vegeta immediately says, no, that really, we don't need Raditz. Raditz. It's Raditz dies, they don't care. Well, at least Vegeta doesn't. Nappa might have a soft spot, but still. But Nappa's pretty much proven worthless. Vegeta kills him instantly. And look, Vegeta's grown. Vegeta's grown. He's a better person. He's a good guy now. I don't feel like he regrets that in the slightest.
I can agree. I don't know, they kind of portrayed it that maybe Nappa and Vegeta were friends, but I think at this point Vegeta views them more as servants or slaves to him than anything else. So I can agree if they're kind of a weird friendship if they really were friends.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Remember in like the story of Bardock when they were all horrible people, But when Bardock lost his friends, he did everything in his power or to try and redeem them or try to get redemption, just any to avenge them. Vegeta, Nappa, Raditz was like, no, it's fine, it's cool.
Yeah, as I said, I'll co-sign, and I mean, I'm trying to think because there's a few scenes where we get young Vegeta with Nappa, and I don't remember. I guess Raditz isn't there with them, so it's just
It
kind of,
almost never feels like Raditz was around.
yeah. It feels like he was the third Saiyan that just happened to be on another planet on his own.
Yeah, basically. And no, the abridged series doesn't count before somebody jumps in the comments. No, it doesn't. Not in this case.
No, sometimes we wish it did, but no, I agree with that.
Yeah. Did they completely feel like friends? No, but like I don't know that weird line about Nappa being like, let's bring back Raditz." Like I don't know. It makes me think there may have been some camaraderie there, but still, it's not a good friendship.
Yeah, as I said, I'll 100% agree to that. And in fact, I'll do my uh, Dragon Ball one as well.
Okay.
And this is Tien and Yamcha from the original Dragon Ball series.
Were they friends back then?
At the end of it, yes. The issue is that they seem to become friends a little too quickly in my book because, I mean, Tien starts out as a villain. He's the villain of the second World Martial Arts tournament that they participate in, and uh, he literally like attempts to cripple Yamcha. And by the next World Martial Arts tournament, they're friends, they're traveling companions on their goal to get stronger together, and it just doesn't feel right. It's one of those, you think that they would have a bit more animosity towards each other, at least. Like I would have kind of wanted it to be toward at least through the start of Dragon Ball Z, where they're not friends, but maybe the training with Kami helps get them there, and where they're a bit more friendly towards each other. It just doesn't feel right. They just go straight from, "Hey, Tien, you broke Yamcha's leg in a fighting tournament too," and literally tried to uh, injure him as badly as possible. To, "Oh yeah, we're traveling together and saving people randomly." So,
If anything, I kind of would have liked if they had done like what Rock Lee and Gara did. It kind of, even after Gara becomes a good guy, he still kind of is keeping his distance and is learning more through Rock Lee. And then several years down the line, Gara finally tries to apologize, but Lee does the thing where he's like, "No, thanks, because it made me stronger." And I'm like, "Okay, I love you, Lee, but no." But still, you can understand. I see Lee and Gara interacting to the point, and I almost don't even remember their animosity. I see them as friends, especially when Lee tries to get Gara to appear in videos. But I don't know, something like that for Tien and Yamcha could have worked earlier on.
yeah, especially when they would have kind of been the among the top 5 or 6 strongest people in the world, and just the fact that they're, I mean, it would have helped, I think, later on with like stuff in the Cell Saga and stuff where they're now among they're still strong, but not the strongest groups there. So it would have been more, I feel like, just a chance for them to say, "Remember when we were the strongest and stuff?" And I don't know why I feel like that would have flown better.
It might have, but it wouldn't have flown better with the fan base because we'd all be sad because they're not doing anything right now.
Hey, but maybe we would have gotten Yamcha in the Tournament of Power.
No. Then they would have won. It would just been Yamcha and Monaka. Give them 45 seconds and a bottle of water and 2 bottles of water. They'd be good to go.
All right, but your next one.
Yeah, but I can co-sign. Okay, Makoto and Yuta from Love, Chunibyo, and Other Delusions.
Okay.
All right, I really don't like picking on this show because there is a lot of really good stuff, and hopefully I'll get to talk about it more in podcast form. At the same time, though, this friendship really isn't all that great. It starts off really good because Yuta's the new guy and Makoto's just welcoming him. He doesn't seem to have any ill will about him, but they get into a lot of problems. Like I'm not going to get into the reason why, but Makoto basically feels like he has to shave his head to protect the guys in the class. And Yuta's like, "You're doing that for us?" And he's like, "Yeah, because I care about you guys." And they're tearfully crying as Makoto's getting his head shaved. So it starts off kind of good. Only for as the series progresses more and more, or Makoto tells him, "Hey man, I just learned I'm transferring to the class next door, so we won't be in the same homeroom anymore." And Yuta has this look on the face and says, "Oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that. That really sucks." I'm like, dude, I don't know. It just Yuta becomes so much more of a jerk about their friendship. Not to mention in the last episode, I hate talking about stuff like this. In the last episode, Makoto, someone ends up with a crush on Makoto, and it's a guy, and the guy starts touching him in a way he's not okay with, and Yuta just leaves him behind as it happens. Friend of the year, I got nothing.
Yeah, that's a weird one. So just the lack of emotion when they're getting separated and is kind of where this starts, and then the fact that he uh doesn't come to his rescue and he's getting, I guess, molested. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, I don't love using the term myself, but yeah, yeah. You see why I've said that? I said a while ago that Yuta started off cool for me, but now I'm just kind of like, I don't think I like you anymore.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah. And the thing is, afterwards, because I would be like, "Hey, dude, remember when you left me behind? Seriously, you suck for that. This is over." No, they just treat it like, "Oh, hey, what's up? Oh, what's going on?" Just nothing, nothing. Was was their friendship the most developed that I was heartbroken? No, but I was just more confused. Like, what happened to these two?
I'll co-sign. It definitely doesn't seem like a good friendship, especially with what you've said. So yeah, as I said, I'll 100% co-sign on this one.
It's not a good sign when the perverted best friend is actually seems more likable than the actual main character.
See, yeah, that is sad.
Yeah, but the show has good stuff about it. Just it's just easy. It's just easy pickings at this point. I feel bad.
All right. Well, my next one.
Go for it.
So this one is a very, I would say, codependent relationship, and it's Toga and Twice from My Hero Academia.
Okay.
They're actually a good friends to each other, but the issue comes that they kind of feed off of each other, and in order to kind of justify doing being part of the League of Villains and doing stuff along the lines of being bad guys and using their powers for their own gains and stuff. It really feels like if they hadn't been brought together, they would have realized that the League of Villains wasn't for them necessarily, and would have either had a redemption arc or turned themselves in some form. And the reason I say that is that there are scenes where Shigaraki or one of the other bad guys says something, and Toga and Twice kind of rely on each other to uh, kind of make sure that they actually uh, do something. And then even where it is in the manga, especially, you still feel that with how there's the current battle is going. So it's one of those. I don't really want to give any spoilers for what's happening for people who don't know what the manga's at. So I'll leave it at that. But just there's repercussions from this friendship, and it just feels like that they're so dependent on each other to justify being evil, to do what they want, that's kind of where this friendship is.
Do you think there could be a case of them realizing that they're very codependent, but it actually has a happy ending? Like they both realize at the same time, "Hey, we can have each other's backs, but not like this."
Spoiler alert for where they're at now in
I'm
the
not saying you could
anime.
just say yes or no without spoiling it.
Well, for the anime,
Okay.
yeah, uh, 5, 4, 3, 2. Twice is dead in the current season. He gets killed by one of the heroes. So but the repercussions of his death and this already codependent relationship are still felt throughout the series, and it leads to Toga wanting to get revenge on more heroes, or viewing heroes in even worse light for not stepping up to just get Twice arrested to try to get him the help he needs versus just killing him outright. So that's kind of where her mentality is at this current point in the season or
Hmm.
series.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. But I guess I have to co-sign on to that
Ooh.
horrible friendship.
Yeah. So your next one?
Oh boy. I'm a little worried because I feel like this I feel I feel like we might have this on both of our lists.
Okay.
Is it for do you have any picks from Persona?
Actually, I do not.
Okay, perfect. Ryuji and Morgana from Persona 5.
Okay.
This friendship, please stop. This friendship really just doesn't. There's nothing really all that good about this friendship. Like, okay, so it just starts off with Morgana just immediately insulting Ryuji as they're trying to save him from Kamoshida's palace, and it just gets worse because more. Look, I'm not going to act like Ryuji is a completely innocent player because he fights back, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Morgana's attitude never really helps the situation.
I can understand that. And I mean, I've talked about how um in the past that I thought that Morgana should have gotten his own palace and stuff with and it should have kind of been triggered by his feelings of inadequacy in his cat form and all that. So and Ryuji definitely doesn't help because of all the kind of jokes he makes at Morgana's expense, but they kind of go back and forth as you said as well. So I can understand that as well.
Would you believe in the video? Look, for as much crap as the anime gets, would you believe the anime actually made it more sufferable in the video game? Like, it's pretty insufferable at times.
Oh God, because they make a small arc in the anime where it's like 2 episodes. So how long is it in the anime or in the game?
It's not that much longer, but it just really doesn't. It really just it's just not good. But like, I guess because the anime is trying to get through stuff, the games you're pretty much stuck with Morgana the whole game. And it's frustrating because, as I've said, look, Ryuji says some pretty harsh stuff, but at the same time, 90% of the time he's defending himself. Let's not act like he's the one completely causing the problem. And throughout the whole arc, more in the anime, I feel like in the game they just tie things up, but in the anime, Ryuji actually says he's sorry. Meanwhile, Morgana never once apologizes to Ryuji for anything. I could should have put it lower because, in all honesty, in Persona 5 Strikers, their relationship is a lot more improved and kind of just feels like two friends who are bickering. But I hate it. Makes me really not like Morgana that much. It's a frustrating friendship, if you even want to call it that.
Yeah, from what I remember, yeah, it definitely doesn't click in fully in the anime. And I mean, I know that they have limited time, so I guess that's why they couldn't really dedicate enough time to fully delve into this friendship. But it feels like, I mean, in order to beat the full game, it takes like what 100 plus hours.
Something like that.
So it feels like this they should have dedicated. I mean, I know that they only wanted to do one season, so they did 24, but they should have dedicated enough to just get every little detail so that maybe it would flow a little bit better in the anime as well.
Or just get rid of that whole arc and give something to Shiho, but either way.
Well, I mean, there's always a chance that they'll release Persona 5 Royal, the anime.
Oh god, not Yoshizawa. I don't want to. I'm gonna dedicate a whole video to her, but like, I want to talk about how they. Here's the thing though. Oh, I've seen people online who take Morgana's side. I've seen people online who take Ryuji's side, but it seems like nobody likes this arc. Everybody says, "Yeah, this is where the anime. This is the worst part of the anime, or this is the worst part of the game." So I guess that's even another part. Whether you're on Team Morgana or Team Ryuji, nobody seems happy with this.
Yeah, I I can see it. I can really see it. As I said, I never really took either side, but again, I've never played the game all the way through. I may have it. I can't remember if I got it saved
Oh,
to download or not.
all
But
right, I know it's been a minute, but I remember in the anime when they're all saying, "Hey, maybe we shouldn't go after this Billy Haru's dad. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't." Morgana straight up tells Ryuji, "It's like, oh, it looks like Ryuji's the only one on my side. What help that is?" I'm like, dude, he's on your side. That's a weird take to have.
yeah, it really is. It's what, especially when you actually agree on something for once.
Yeah, but like I said, their relationship in Strikers is so much better. Like I actually look at it, I'm like, huh, this is actually is it the best? No, but I'd give it maybe an honorable mention, but no, just it's not great. It's not good.
Yeah, as I said, I'll co-sign. And so my next one.
Please.
All right. So this one is a really weird one. It's Gojo and Ozeki from Hinamaru Sumo. So at the start of the series, Gojo is actually Ozeki's bully. Um, Ozeki is the only member of his high school's sumo club, and Gojo pretty much every time that like has taken over the sumo's gym, destroyed their sumo ring, constantly is just bullying Ozeki. And when Hinamaru shows up, it's he defeats Gojo and ends up getting the club restarted and all that for Ozeki. And then within, I don't know, it's like 4 episodes, Gojo joins the team because he wants to get stronger. And within probably 3 or 4 episodes of that, Ozeki's kind of accepted him and treats him as a friend. But and you get that back and forth where Gojo has like a little bit of an arc where he doesn't feel like he belongs, but still, it feels like it goes by too fast because this is Ozeki's final year in high school, so it's his last chance to compete in all this stuff. And Gojo, so if he had had any chance, because he's built like a sumo wrestler, so he could have done really well and made a name for himself in the past, but Gojo's ruined that for him, and now it just feels like it doesn't. Pretty much, I'm trying to say it doesn't feel like it. There's a recovery there. I don't know if um, he's trying to make up for it, but it feels like it happens a little too fast. I know it's again a limited series, but
No, I can but I can understand that. Like we've said before, when a redemption arc is done really well, it's compelling. We find ways to forgive the character. There's like we start to like them again. But if you're not gonna put that much time into it, you need to make it effective. Even if it's like a 1 episode redemption, which oddly enough, I think Zatchbell did a 1 episode redemption with one of its villains, and it was oddly compelling. But if you need to do a good job with it if it's going to be so short, because if you don't, it just falls on its face, and we don't know how to feel.
yeah, as I said, it's kind of spread out. But I just wish that there had maybe been a whole episode dedicated to it, or some time where Ozeki wasn't forgiving or wasn't trusting him. But it seems like as soon as Gojo joins the team, he kind of accepting him, and Gojo has the like, why are you doing this? Why are you accepting me? And it's like it feels like there should be more where Ozeki it has to develop a point where he can trust Gojo to
Now
be
is
part of this
those
team.
now is Ozeki like? Is it he normally like this? Is he normally just super friendly and kind, or is it just what is it?
He's kind of a he kind of be classified as like the jolly giant or the jolly fat man or something.
Okay.
But as I said, it just this has been going on. I mean, at least since the start of middle school or high school for him. So it feels like it should maybe have been just a little bit more, just a couple episodes of him recovering from the trauma because he was beat as like from what I remember, they showed him getting punched and all that. So
Yeah, but I can co-sign. And hopefully it's working out for them, but it may be a little more time.
yeah. So, all right, honorable mentions time.
All right, let's do it. All
All
right,
right,
so my first honorable mention,
go right ahead.
Cyrus and Hasselberry from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
Okay.
Honestly, going back and rewatching Yu-Gi-Oh, I kind of find Cyrus and Hasselberry's dynamic to be really kind of annoying because they're both fighting over who's Jaden's best friend. And there is even an episode where they have a duel to see who Jaden's best friend is, and Cyrus ends up searching for Jaden because he's gone missing, and he ends up pretty much passing out during the duel, and Hasselberry like lets him win, so he's Jaden's best friend, I guess. Honestly, it's not a very good episode, despite the fact it's kind of sweet how Bastion and Alexis in particular are actually like looking out for these guys, making sure neither of them, die. But I just found the dynamic of them always arguing to be kind of on the frustrating side.
Hmm.
Now, it's an honorable mention because one, they have a really good tag duel together where they kind of cement their friendship. And two, well, I find it kind of hilarious how they're both fighting for Jane's best friendship and they both end up losing to Jesse, of all people.
So Jesse is the true best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I think I remember this episode because I think I actually did see this one, and I can agree. It's nice to see them fighting over being Jane's best friend, but also feels like it's like, well, Cyrus has been around a good bit longer, but yeah, I don't know. It is a kind of a weird dynamic for them to have.
Yeah, and Jaden is bless Jaden. He's trying to make this work. Like he's like, guys, we don't have to fight. Let's just settle with a hug. And Elsebear's like, I don't do hugs. Like I don't know. Just I don't know. I appreciate Jaden trying to keep the peace, but he was not good at it.
Yeah, I'd be interested. I guess I need to finish up where I left off, as I've talked about many times before, so that I can fully understand just their full dynamic. As I said, I vaguely remember this duel, but it's been a couple years since I last watched GX. So
There's a Vanilla Ice reference in that episode, if I recall.
there's a lot of early 2000s references in GX. You'd have to be very specific.
Uh, One of the characters says "Ice, Ice, Baby," and I kind of just sit there and think, okay, and I understand why GX is so easy to pick on.
You gotta love those early 2000 references. They're
I do,
so not dated at this point.
they're incredibly dated, but I still find them hilarious. But like I said, Cyrus and Hasselberry, it got better, but in the beginning, it was pretty insufferable sometimes.
Yeah, because I seem to also remember that they toned down Hasselberry's kind of military talk style that
Not completely, not really. No,
just I thought they turned it down from where he's always talking like that to where he has more lines where he's talks normally. He still talks that military style, but
I honestly couldn't even tell you. Maybe it's just the fact he stops appearing in episodes because season 3 just kills almost everybody. But who knows?
all right. Yeah. As I said, maybe I'll give that one a shot. I am looking for something new to start that's a long-term series. So
Mm-hmm.
I am. I've run out of long-term series to watch right now. So all right. So my first honorable mention.
Yep.
So this one is a weird. I've said that about a lot of these, but this one is Senku and Gen from Doctor Stone. So Gen is one of the first people that Tsukasa, the main bad guy from season 1 and season 2, revives. He's a mentalist from the past world, and um, pretty much the reason I view him and Senku's friendship as not necessarily being the best is that Gen turns on Tsukasa just because Senku makes him soda. That's it. So the
I'm
fact,
sorry.
yeah, that's the reason Senku reinvents soda so that, and that's what turns Gen from Tsukasa to Senku's side. There's that. So just the fact that Gen's easily to influence or change sides, but then there's also they while they get along really well, they're another one that's kind of that they feed off of each other. And lead to not necessarily infighting, but um, they bring out the worst in each other. So um, they can come up with ideas in order to, I guess, win their war against Tsukasa, but it just, as I said, they bring out the worst. Gen convinces Senku to use music that he found that survived the 3,000 years to bring people over to their side, and then he fakes his voice and stuff. It's just the combination is not necessarily the best. Where a lot of the other friendships with Senku feel more genuine and that they actually want to support each other. This one feels more like we're working a means to an end, and that's kind of it.
Dr. Stone's an entirely different show than what I was picturing based on all this you're telling me, especially with Soda.
Yeah, the stuff that they invent, it's kind of all over the place. As I said, I really enjoyed the show. They're premiering season 3 currently.
And you're sure the main character of this weird show you're telling me about isn't a giant man with a yellow afro who fights people with nose hairs? Because it sounds like it might be.
No, no, I don't think he has nose hair. He's he's like in high school or like in early high school, from what I understand.
Okay, but yeah, it
Mhm.
doesn't sound like the most productive friendship. It sounds kind of odd, so I guess I have to co-sign.
Yeah, well, it's very productive. It's just the fact that they try to lie and cheat their way to winning battles and stuff together is kind of the mentality. As I said, they're kind of another codependent. They bring out the worst in each other.
Oh goodness, but yeah, I can co-sign. I can agree with that.
All right. So your next honorable mention?
Okay, Bruno and Julie from Bakugan.
Okay.
This friendship just kind of feels underdeveloped in some cases because Runo's kind of I hate using this term, but she's kind of more of the tomboy between in the friendship, while Julie's the more I hate using this term even more, the quote unquote girly girl of the group. And the thing is, they really don't interact that much besides just random bickering. And the weird thing is, you might think to yourself, oh, well, one of them obviously has a crush on the main guy, Dan, while the other one's more tsundere about it. But they don't even fight over that much. It feels, I don't know, it just doesn't really feel like they interact enough to the point of their fights make sense. It just sort of feels like they bicker just to bicker. And it's not even one of those things where it's like, oh, but when they work together, man, they're really good. I don't remember them interacting that much, like teaming up with each other. It just sort of feels like when they were around other people, that's who they hung out with. But when they were stuck together, they just bickered.
Yeah, from what I remember, and it's been so many years since I've seen Bakugan and anything besides. Uh, I think the last time I saw anything was when you were playing the game all those years ago.
That game was awesome.
Uh, so yeah, I don't remember this friendship, but that's probably a good thing by the sounds of it. If they just argue all the time instead of actually getting along or doing anything together.
Yeah, and the thing is, I feel like they both got split up when the next season started. Not like I'm gonna act like I've seen the second season, but I just don't. I feel like they just existed to be catty and bicker with each other. And sometimes it would just come out of nowhere, where like Julie held up a book or something. It's just like, wait, guys, I know what we're looking for, and she holds up a book or something, and Bruno's like, Julie, how the heck is that supposed to help us? And Julie just says, well, first off, Bruno, I'm not as dumb as you look. And I'm just like, this is so hot. You guys are so hostile to each other. I don't get it.
Yeah, as I said, I don't really remember this friendship, and it's probably because I never really viewed it as a friendship. They were just part of the same group, and that was about it.
Yeah, I'm going through and rewatching it now. There's a lot of stuff about that really doesn't hold up. But then there's other stuff I rewatch and I'm like, whoa, they they did that was kind of cool. I want to talk about this more.
Yeah, I seem to remember really enjoying the actual Bakugan battles and stuff like that. That those were really interesting and kind of cool seeing the different card effects, although they also seem kind of random because you don't it was again the kind of the Yu-Gi-Oh mindset is you always got the card you needed to power up your Bakugan to win the battle at the last minute.
Yeah, to be in their defense, they actually had the main characters lose a lot more than Yu-Gi-Oh protagonists. So I give them a lot of credit for that. They actually do a really good job of that.
That's good. I Another one I maybe need to add to my list to go back at least watch season one all the way through
If
again.
we do that, I think we should both come up with our own Ace Bakugan. We can talk about stuff like that on the channel.
I could probably do it. I still remember enough of the actual battling part, I think, to uh, possibly do that. So that could be an interesting one to do.
Yeah, heck, we don't have to come up with like 10 of them or anything. We just say one and then pick these two from the show or whatever.
Okay.
But Runo and Julie, it didn't feel like that much of a friendship. I kind of just said, well, they're both in the same group, so it kind of just feels like it.
As I said, I'll co-sign. I think that from I'll need to go back and at least see parts of season one again, at least to really remember that.
Yep.
Because I seem to remember, I think it's Julie does a lot more with this. Is it which one is the one that with the blue hair?
Runo's the one with the blue hair.
Okay, I don't know why I thought that was Julie. As I said, it's been years since I've seen the series,
I understand.
so yeah, I seem to remember her doing at least a bit more to start in the series, but then so
Yeah,
I'll co-sign. All right, so my next honorable mention
go for it.
is this one's kind of a group and it feels pressured at the end, and it's Cavendish and the Straw Hat Pirates from One Piece, of course, but he shows up in the Dressrosa arc, and pretty much his whole mindset is that he was a pirate coming out at right before the worst generation and blames them for his. He was actually like a really like notorious pirate to start for, but just didn't quite meet the qualifications. He showed up the year before the worst generation. His bounty was slightly lower. Like I think all of theirs were 300 million and his was like 250 million. So he didn't qualify for that.
Well,
And
except
so,
Chopper.
but Chopper isn't the worst generation are like uh Blackbeard.
Oh, okay, right. I thought you meant the straw. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, but he doesn't get along, but he joins the Straw Hat Pirates in helping defeat the Dressrosa army and all that to defeat Doflamingo. And then he ends up joining the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, so they now all work under Luffy. But it feels like that's such a change of character. It feels like he would just kind of he should have like left at the end, so and not join them at all. And because his whole goal, especially at the start, is that he wants to get strong enough to defeat every single one of the worst generation to make his name as the one who defeated the worst generation of pirates. So it just doesn't feel necessarily right. I know he starts to admire Luffy and his power and all that, but still, it feels like is he still going for that goal? Does he want to defeat all of them? Because now he's kind of in this alliance because he's working under Luffy. He's in an alliance with Law, and I think it expands further on. I haven't gotten to that point in the series where it expands to maybe include the Kid Pirates as well in that alliance. So I don't know. It just doesn't feel right that he's now technically working with the people he wanted to kill at the start when he's introduced.
We need to talk about Law more. He's awesome.
Yeah, at first when I didn't really care for him until we started getting his backstory, and then it's like this guy is amazing, and I will do everything in my power to save him.
Yeah, but getting back to Cavendish, do you think it could have been a case? Because my memory is kind of fuzzy on it. Do you think it could have just been a case of right now I'm working with you? To me, right now I'm working alongside you guys, but afterwards we're done. Because it kind of reminds me of Piccolo in the sense of him once saying, "I'm only protecting the Earth right now so I can eventually take it over," which nowadays we wouldn't believe that in the slightest. Like he's a hero now.
It's possible. The issue is that once they leave Just Rosa, he really doesn't show up very much anymore. He might get the occasional panel where he's reacting to something, but at this point, I don't he hasn't been a main character in any arc since then. He shows up in Wano for a little while, but I haven't gotten through Wano yet, so I don't know.
Yeah. I've talked about Tiger Mask W before, and even though there's never really been a sequel of current stuff, there was this guy named Jay White who joined the good guy team Chaos, and I think maybe it would have helped in some cases if it was similar to that story, and he said, "Hey, I'm joining your side, but do not get too comfortable. Oh, we're gonna fight again. I'm gonna beat you again. We'll work together now, but seriously, you better not trust me because I will stab you in the back." And he ended up doing that, predictably. Maybe something like that could have worked, so technically it wouldn't have been a friendship, but I don't know. I don't remember being ecstatic about what went down either.
Yeah, it's one of those. Maybe if the Straw Hat Grand Fleet actually showed up more throughout like these battles, like if maybe they reacted to or one of the Straw Hats called for their assistance during like the Whole Cake Island arc or something to help like distract the Big Mom pirates. Maybe that would have been a good response, but I don't know. If there had been more involved, I think maybe this would work better. But until we get more from him, I'm going to put him on as an honorable mention. It's not the best friendship.
I can understand that, and I will fully admit he is a handsome man. I will give him that. But yes, I can co-sign.
All right. Your next one?
All right, my last honorable mention, Fuki Harukawa and Sakura Otome from Lycoris Recoil.
Okay.
Honestly, these two work together in, well, Lycoris Recoil, but they don't really. It's an honorable mention because they don't really do anything. Fuki is pissed off at Takina for breaking the rules and basically going to work in the cafe with Chisato. Oh, and she's like, no, you need to follow the rules. You basically need to be hard nosed and everything. While Sakura's she's a newer recruit and she doesn't really seem all that vicious. She actually seems like a very kind person who just wants to help people. And ultimately, it doesn't. I guess you could say it doesn't really feel like a friendship because it kind of just feels like, well, we work together, so we're just stuck with each other. At the same time, though, there are just so many times where it doesn't even feel like it's a case of, oh, well, it seems like they're trying to get along better, or it seems like they're slowly becoming better friends. I don't know. It's just kind of underdeveloped, and it's an honorable mention because the show is coming back, but I don't know. You just feel bad for Sakura because she's going through all this, and you're just like, no, just let her stay at the cafe and eat whatever the hell dessert they're serving that week.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was getting texts from my parents about something. So I really wasn't paying that much attention. I do apologize about that.
I don't know what more I can say if that's the case. I'm not repeating myself.
I understand. So I'll co-sign because as I said, I did not pay that much attention to that one.
Oh, goody.
So my last honorable mention, just to go over real quick, was Allison Riho from Food Wars. So Riho is pretty much always depicted as the much better cook than Alice, but he always ends up acting as her assistant, and pretty much he does whatever she wants, and even if it's not necessarily for the best, it's always her ideas, right, and stuff. It just isn't a great friendship. It always feels like not abusive, but she's the one always in charge, and he's always depicted as being better than her and stuff.
I take it you don't like Alice that much.
Not very much. No, she's very controlling, and she wants to be like her cousin, who's Alice, who I've talked about before. So, or not Alice. Oh God, what's her name? Erin. Erin, the main girl who's very tsundere.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So it's just this relationship is kind of a weird one, and it feels like Alice always tries to control Rio and make every decision for their little friendship as possible.
So it's generally shown that Riho's the better of the two, correct?
Yeah, like when their backstory is that they were in I think Norway, and this is when they're like 5 years old, and he was already the head chef in a restaurant at the pier where he fed sailors all day. And she tries to get him to become her assistant because she's studying there for before going to the big school. And uh, Rio constantly beats her, despite all of her training and background and stuff in this. And he's cooking for sailors, so he cooks, but yet his cooking is always much better than hers.
Yeah, that definitely sounds frustrating, especially since he. It sounds like it would be a pain. I'm not looking forward. I'm not looking forward to this girl.
Yeah, it's she improves a bit as the series goes on, but her relationship with him becomes more of a she respects him and understands his stuff, but still she's the daughter of one of the like board of directors of the school, so she kind of still is like I'm in charge kind of mindset. So it's kind of a weird that some improvement, but not all there.
Yeah, and I guess I can co-sign. I can understand that being a problem.
Yeah. All right. So your last one.
All right, the last friendship for me that's just one of the worst friendships in anime. It's Dawn and Kenny from Pokemon.
They were friends.
Yeah, that's the problem because they act like they're childhood friend. And it's like, okay, so Dawn, one of the main characters of Diamond and Pearl, you could honestly argue she was the main character. And she had this rival and this childhood friend named Kenny, and Kenny was just a jerk. Look, I can understand to some extent. Like, look, Ash and Gary, they had a falling out when they were younger. They used to be friends. They had a falling out. You understand why he's a jerk. You can understand it. For all the crap you've thrown at him, Trip kind of had a reason for being a little more standoffish.
Mm-hmm.
But Kenny just bullied Dawn, and you could be like, well, Alex, friends pick on each other. Like, yeah, but it didn't seem like she was into it at all. Dawn seemed very annoyed just by the presence of this character, and he didn't seem to know how to turn it off. Like, I don't understand this quote unquote friendship.
Yeah, I can 100% agree if we even want to call it that, because as you said, they do seem to say, yeah, we're childhood friends. I think when they first meet Kenny, and then you get like the flashbacks and stuff, and it's yeah, he there's never any of that nice where he shows that he actually cared about Dawn, from what I remember.
Not
So
enough.
it's always depicting as pretty much bullying, almost name calling, stuff like that, and making fun of her, like when her hair gets all like big and like an afro in the one scene.
Yeah, look. When we make those videos about, oh, what would this gang character be like in the anime? I remember I went back and I watched it. I'm like, oh, we kind of joked with the idea of just replacing Kenny with Lucas because Lucas is like pleasant to be around, and I thought, no, that wouldn't seem fair because we shouldn't be cutting out characters. But at the same time, though, I'm like, does she have anybody that she's really friends with besides Ash and Brock? Because I don't know. Kenny was the worst type of friend. He felt like a snake. Say what you want
Mm-hmm.
about Ursula, but she was straight up like, I don't like you. You kind of suck. I'm like, I respect your honesty.
There was Zoe. Other than that, I don't.
Yeah, but you understand what I mean. You understand what I
Mm-hmm.
mean. For a childhood friend to be such an ass. And
Mm-hmm.
should we even talk about the last episode he's in? I know it's been a minute since you've seen it, but I think you remember the episode I'm talking about.
Go ahead and start saying it. I'll make sure I remember the right
All
episode.
right, so he basically tells Dawn after the grand festival, "Hey, it'd be cool if we could travel. It'd be cool if we could travel together." And a lot of people get this confused because a lot of people say, "Hey, if I beat Ash in a battle, that means you come traveling with me." In all honesty, he says, "If I beat Ash, I'd like you to." He doesn't handle it. He doesn't handle it perfectly, but he doesn't handle it nearly as well as as people say he does. That being said, he still handles it terribly. Ugh.
I can understand that. I vaguely remember this episode, and Dawn still says no, which rightfully she has every right to, if I remember correctly.
You want to know the really sad part? Ash loses that battle.
Yeah, that's what I kind of remembered. So I just remember for sure though. So
Oh my god! Like Ash, when it comes to defending your friends, you do a horrible job when it comes to that because you lost to Kenny, you lost to Bianca's dad. He's not good. He's not good at this.
yeah, he really isn't. It's like if you need someone to like if someone says, "Hey, you're traveling with me now," if I beat Ash, say, "Well, can you beat Brock instead?"
Brock just destroys. But in all honesty, I guess I just would have liked a moment where even she was like, "Are we friends?" Look, Ash and Brock, like we get on each other sometimes, but like I still feel like they care about me. They would do anything for me, and I would do anything for them. Can I say the same about you? Can I? And that's when he realizes he's been a jerk. But no, they just decide no.
Yeah, as I said, I'll co-sign. This is a really bad friendship. Especially because I think Kenny kind of views them as being friends, looking back on what I remember. So I think he thinks it's like, oh, we're just poking fun at each other, and doesn't realize that Dawn wasn't poking fun at him very much, and he didn't turn it off.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh wait, Dawn, but I have a crush on you. I'm like, what? Look. I understand Helga and Arnold, Jimmy and Cindy. I understand it, but for Kenny, I was just like, what? Really? Really? Them? You could have told me that Zoe had a thing for Dawn. I'd be like, actually, I believe it. It seems like they care about each other, or they're helpful. They push each other. But no, Kenny's just an ass. I'm sorry.
Yeah, as I said, I'll co-sign that is not a good friendship.
Yeah, but let's move on. What's your last one?
So my last one is Juvia and Lucy from Fairy Tale.
Oh, jeez.
So this one is just pretty much the entire time is always been depicted as Juvia reacting to Lucy saying something to Gray and Juvia getting overly jealous. And that's like every scene, maybe until like the last arc, and then they have just kind of normal reactions to each other. But for the most part, the entire the entire react or relationship is that Juvia gets jealous because Lucy's on the same kind of Magic Squad team as Gray. So it just keeps going over and over again.
Okay, what's Lucy and Gray's dynamic?
They're just friends. Like literally, they have no romantic interest. I think there's one scene that's played up for laughs about something like that, but they really have no romantic setup as far as I remember from the series. But Juvia is always jealous of Lucy because she and Gray always are going out on missions with Natsu and Urza together. So it's that group, but because it's Lucy and Gray are on the same team, she doesn't get the thing is that Juvia doesn't get jealous that Urza's on the same team as Gray, but I think that might be because Urza could kill Juvia in a few really easily. So,
What if you're wrong? What if it is a setup?
oh god,
What if the whole time they're thinking, hey, you want to mess with Juvia? You want to do something real scummy? Hey, Lucy, here, come here. Here, I'm gonna say I have a mission, and you say, oh, I'll go with you. But make it seem really convincing. What if it turns out Juvia's actually in the right on this? What if they're just doing this to mess with her?
well, it doesn't help that Gray knows that Juvia has a crush on him, and I think it's mainly because he doesn't know what his feelings are throughout the series towards her, so he kind of tries to get away from her constantly. But still, it's just it doesn't feel right, and it goes on for a long time until kind of as I said, the last arc of the main series, which Juvia and Gray get together finally at the end of it, but it takes forever to get to that point.
Would you say most of your favorite ships are fairy tale based?
I don't know. I don't really think about shipping that much, so I'd have to go back think about it.
I don't know. And I'm not saying this to call you out. I'm legitimately not. I just feel like you talk about people ending up together in fairy tale more than you do other series. Maybe I'm misremembering, but that's just what I've been picking up.
It's quite possible. It's but they're actually kind of set up that way. If the way things are described, you've got Juvia has the heavy crush on Gray. Urza and her childhood friend Jalal both obviously have crushes on each other, but get too awkward when they're around each other to make any moves. And there's just like they force the characters kind of slowly develop relationships throughout the series because they are at that kind of age where they're all kind of coming of age. They're all 16 to 18 from the start to the end of the series. So it's kind of that where they start developing relationships at that point. So it's just kind of a weird point.
Please don't tell me we're going to have to worry about this when we eventually do the what would our fairy tale magic thing be?
No, it would just be a magic. We don't have to worry about that.
Okay, but if that's the case, I'm just gonna say I want to be friends with Gray. He seems cool, but I don't want to deal with Juvia.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, that's the thing. You keep telling me about this girl, and I'm like, dang, she seems awful. But then I want to like her because she sounded cool in the beginning. But I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm nervous for this girl.
She's really nice to most characters except for Lucy. Pretty much is like the one that she always is mean and jealous of.
Wait, how does Lucy react?
She doesn't quite understand it because she's like, I don't like Gray, and I don't like him as in that way. We're just friends, and she's constantly trying to explain it that way. And Juvia's like, you're just saying that so that I'll get off your case, aren't you? And stuff like that.
No, I believe they're setting her. I believe that Gray and Lucy are the horrible people. I have to take her side on this one. I don't know, man.
That's your choice.
I get so very few of them nowadays, but I guess I can co-sign on to that. So is that it?
I believe so.
Oh, that was upsetting. But ladies, gentlemen, and others, what are some of your least favorite friendships in the anime? Toxic ones, boring ones that just don't feel all that developed, or just anything in between. Just any friendship that makes you grateful for the people in your life, because that must be a truly horrible friendship in my case.
Exactly, and just hey, if you have a friendship that you think deserves to be on our other list of great friendships, let us know, because this one was, I don't know, there aren't that many terrible friendships from what I can tell.
Or at least a lot of them just feel super obvious to the point where it's like, are they even friends?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But just let us know. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that other nonsense. And we will see you next time. This has been Alex.
And Richard.
And you have been listening to Anime Egotists. Good night. Peace easy.